specifically von Isangard,
Israel, very interesting country. Very, very interesting indeed. They say it's smaller than New Jersey, which is a speck on the map. Looks like a city in New York. Not literally, but it's small. Israel is a small, small country. And yet, they wield the world's most powerful country in history. They have more control over it than it has of itself. Look at who's in the White House. Jared Kushner, the self-proclaimed nephew of Benjamin Netanyahu, says that they slept in the same bed. They're that close. Okay, so I think that he's on Israel's side. We had John Bolton in there, who was Sheldon Adelson's pick. Sheldon Adelson is the biggest donor of Donald Trump's campaign at $25 million donation. And he owns the Sands and is a big casino mogul who also has casino in Israel. So he's a big Zionist as well. Who else we got? Pretty much enough people, because Jared Kushner wields more power than. Oh, also Trump's daughter works in the White House, and that's Kushner's wife. So there are more people that have influence over the president, who's also in debt to, I don't know if he's in debt to Sheldon Adelson, but some big Jewish money guy bailed him out on one of his bankruptcies. I believe it was his last casino, his last bankruptcy, I think. So he's beholden to all kinds of power from Israel. And then you've got Congress, both sides, get so much donations from Israeli lobbies that they might as well be controlled, because if you want to run for office and you don't sign on to AIPAC, which is the American Israel, it's a what is it called? The most powerful lobby in Washington for Israel, which is extremely powerful. If you don't sign up or sign on to them, they have to sign a paper that says that they pledge to make decisions in favor of Israel. If they don't do that, they hardly have a chance of winning an election, because there's so much power there. And we're talking both sides of the aisle. So both sides of Congress and the White House are heavily controlled by Israel. What else is there? There's, the intelligence agencies, what do they have without Congress and the White House? And so the power that Israel is wielding with that, knowing full well that they have control, they're doing all kinds of war crimes with impunity, and there's nothing that anybody does about it. So I would go so far as to say the Zionist regime controlling Israel is the biggest problem in the world. Really, the biggest problem in the world is Israel's management, Israel's regime. It's damn near Nazi. It's an apartheid state. What they do to the Palestinians is ungodly, really horrible. And they cover it up really well, and they control so much of our media that if you try and find out just what it is that they do that's bad, good luck finding it. If you do a search on Google, it doesn't come up. But it's there. I did a search on Google through Hong Kong. I don't know if that still works, but I've got stuff on my website, wonkysanga.com, about it, where the Hong Kong search results came right up what they were doing to Palestine, whereas the American one, nope. You had to really dig deep to get anything even remotely further against showing stuff against Palestine than stuff that was what they called, here and there, it's us and them, and it's not even. It's not an even fight. It's not even close. It is. Gaza is an open air prison, and the snipers are shooting unarmed protesters, and people don't even know that in the United States, that they have shot tens of thousands of unarmed protesters. And if anybody doesn't know that, that's shocking as hell to hear. It's almost impossible to hear. It's like, no, that's not possibly true. It's true. And the UN calls it a war crime, and it absolutely is, without a question, a war crime. Here's people that occasionally throw stones, and just a few of them, and they're just shooting press. They're shooting not only press members, but also, women, children, pregnant women. Some people have even said that that's a good thing, that, some Zionists have said, well, that way the snake babies are, won't grow up there. It's really sick. It's very, very Nazi. It's very, very, the abusers, or the abused become the abusers, because they're doing the same thing that the Nazis did to them in the Holocaust. The numbers aren't as bad yet, but they've increased bombing, and they keep doing this where they'll bomb themselves with rockets to have a reason to launch more attacks into Gaza. They never show evidence in a lot of this stuff, and they keep saying that they're defending themselves when they're the ones who do first strikes on Syria. And yesterday, Syria struck back. They attacked Golden Heights, which is their own country that's being illegally occupied. But they fought back because Israel attacked Damascus in a big way. They've been attacking, thousands of airstrikes on, I think, Syria alone. But, none of these have been answered, and they keep saying they're defending themselves. If somebody punches you in the face and says they're defending themselves, do you buy that? I don't. No matter if you thought that the person might punch you and you punch them anyway, because I thought they might punch me, so I punched them first. I was defending myself. And the world buys it. They're like, well, they do have a right to defense. That's not defense. That's not defense. Who thinks that's defense? It's the most absurd claim. If they're going to say, look, we know that they have nukes or something big and they could destroy us with it, and they're setting it up and aiming it at us, show some evidence before you attack anywhere, because otherwise you're full of shit. You are starting a war of aggression because you want their land, Israel. You are starting a war of aggression with Iran and Syria to create a greater Israel, a much bigger country, taking part of, I think it's Jordan, Iran, Syria, Lebanon. These are all the countries that they're attacking. Why else would they be doing that if they're not actually under threat? Because they're not. They're not under threat, because if one of these countries assaulted Israel, Israel has got a massive retaliation, and the United States backs them up. So why would they do it? That's absurd. So it's a war of aggression. They're getting their strikes in to, cause some dents before the real fight begins. And it's like, I don't know at what point Iran defends itself, because now it's at the point where it's almost stupid to not defend themselves at this point. They've got nothing to lose now. We've starved them out. They're bombing the hell out of them. We're not really giving them much of a choice at all. If anybody says that they're doing the wrong thing by attacking at this point, then they haven't seen the recent history of what's going on there. We've been provoking Iran to no end. False flag after false flag, blaming them for everything, surrounding them. It's like poking them, taking away their food, taking away their resources, making sure that they can't sell their oil, being attacked by Israel. At what point do they fight back? They're more than justified in doing so at this point. If they wiped Israel off the map at this point, it wouldn't be unfair, I don't think, because Israel's bombing the shit out of them and have no justification. Anyway, I'm done ranting. I feel better now. Take care. Have a good night.